Well, it's team list day. We're going to react to the Maroons and also the Blues there and go through the 5 matches that we've got this weekend. It's going to be pretty cool. And I am excited for Origin. I'm now a bit more confident in the Blues winning compared to where I was at heading into game 1. Just really noticing the dominance that the boys displayed even away from home. So, over in Perth, a neutral venue, should be a really, really good result. What I do like about the Maroons there is that they have changed what they're coming into this game with, and they needed to be honest with you. Like, people talk about the pick and stick thing. Are they just trying to get a rise out of people? I don't understand that. If, what you see in game 1, it's like, did they just play poorly or were they completely outplayed? And even if the Blues are a little bit off in game 2 and the Maroons play really well, are they going to be good enough to win this? And the question is, with that same team, and the question was answered with a no from Billy Slater, and he's made that change, and it makes sense, especially with DCE having all that noise around him at the moment with leaving the Manly boys and just not playing super well. Unfortunately, at the moment, Manly aren't going crash hot, and he didn't play very well in this game. Now, with the outside backs, you see Hammer on the wing. He's been named, which is a little bit different there with Holmes actually being named at centre. So that part I find a little bit more interesting, but is that more of a, we're trying to cover To'o and Lomax being absolute jets and have Holmes back in his regular position. It's an interesting one, especially with how well Hammer's been playing at centre for the Queensland side. Now through the forwards, you see Kurt Capewell named in that starting side, and a lot of people bring up his missed tackle numbers and stuff like that, and he has also played a fair bit of centre this year, so be aware of that, guys. But he is just rock solid in Origin, and the reason he's been selected is because he's been there a lot before. He's good defensively, especially in the back row. He's done a job in centre, so it shows he can do it across all parts of it. We got Trent Liero actually named at 13, which is pretty wild. Can we actually see that happening? Look, to be honest with you, in this one, him starting compared to him off the bench, I think is a better situation for this side. What they really lacked last game was any punch off the bench. Trent came on, Collins I thought came on and did okay, but didn't have that spark at all. So starting him, getting him through the grunt work, and then Carrigan coming on playing the rest of the game, I think is a much better strategy in that way. And Kurt Mann the other day for the Dogs was hectic. So that was, great to see him come out with that confidence, really. We know that he can have games like that, and he's awesome in that spot. And then, Jeremiah and I are going to come off the bench, and I think he can do a better job in using him in that way. Now, for the Blues, the only change here is Stefano comes in for Barnett, and the way Keon's playing, you'd expect he'd be in that type of role. Congrats to Lindsay Smith for getting an opportunity in at camp there. He has played for Australia already, so that's where that one makes sense. For Stefano, he does add some punch. How is he going to look again here in the Blues outfit? He has been a bit on and off for Storm. So the thing is, what you need to look at here, and when we're looking at guys like Terrell May, the roles that they're currently playing, Keon, big minutes, May, big minutes. Stefano is playing the lesser minutes impact role, trying to punch out tackle breaks and the like. That hopefully that's the way they're going to use him. And Spencer off that bench, and then you've got Connor that can cover a lot of positions, play the role that he did in the back end of the game the other day, and then Hudson Young the same role. So I just think this team is in red hot form. They're able to get through with just the one injury from last game, and I'm super excited to see how that one pans out. Now, from a fantasy perspective, guys, all of the Origin guys, they miss this week coming, so round 15. And if they want to play or able to play in round 16, they will need to back up from this game to then play games on the Friday, the Saturday, or the Sunday on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of June. So the main worry with this week, guys, is them being able to travel from Perth, which is a pretty good flight, back to where they're playing. A lot of these guys, it'll be back to their home base to then fly elsewhere. Now, the slight difference, I think, with teams like the Broncos with Payne Haas is that they are playing at home, so they can go from Perth straight to Brisbane and then be okay there. But where Cleary and Yo and these types of guys, they fall flat on their face, is that they have to go from Perth, they'll head home, and then they'll fly to New Zealand after that. So plenty of flying, and then they've already been told that well, Ivan's already said out loud that he won't be backing those guys up in this round 16. So be aware of that with your setting up your teams over the next few weeks. And now, good to see Turbo, Tamalolo, and Sammy Walker on this list, and we knew that Galvin was going to be starting. So let's get into our first lot of games there, and that is the Sharkies and the Dragons. Now, with the Sharkies, we're going to talk about pods and we're going to talk about guns, is how I'm going to bring this up. And given that, the big thing that we need to think of this week is going to be more around the strategy. Now, we know the majority of the guys, they're going to be really good picks in our 13 this week. We spoke about it with Nikki. Jump on there and check out Maddie and Mitch's video as well. Plenty of chat about all that stuff, but we do need to think more, strategize in terms of the weeks to come. What is your team going to look like in 16? What will it look like in 18? And then a little bit thinking of 19, but mainly that's 16 and 18, and potentially a little bit of 17 with a lot of us having Roosters in our side. Now, Jesse Ramian, he's a pod and a cheaper pod. So again, when I'm talking about strategy, guys, you may need to spend a little bit less to get someone this week to then be able to have some cash to upgrade to a guy you want in 16, or be able to get some guns like Drinkwater, who play 18. Maybe you want Teddy down below in wing fullback. You could be looking to hold someone like Fogarty, given he plays round 18. So it's different things like that. Calls for different measures, and that's the whole point of having the private group, guys, is that I can give one-to-one help for guys and their specific situations in their teams. So if you haven't jumped on board yet, it's still cheap to jump on board this year, but have a think towards next year as to being able to get that quick help from myself to keep you on the right track and have a great season, because that's the big part of it with that community. So Ramian's a pod there. Hines, definitely a pod, and a little bit cheaper as well. I still wouldn't go jump on him, given I have him right now. And then you've got the two gun mids in Adam Fanua-Blake and McInnes. And all of these guys we will dive deeply into in the best buys for the week, given there's only 10 teams. So there will be, we can basically talk about all of them, which is great. So those guys, hard to split those two, and we'll try to in that best buys video. And then you've got Britton Nicker in that mid-range, who scored okay, but wasn't crazy, great on the weekend. Now, apparently there's going to be changes to this side. It doesn't look like there is, but Hamish Stewart's been moved back to the bench. We see Harm Saleh into the side, along with Emre Gula, partnering Clemmer in this one. So they do lose Blake Laurie out of this side, is the big one. And you do see Corey Allen come in to the centres there with Val going out. Tuipulotu is out of this game as well. And you see Tyrell Sloan come back. So that gives Lawson at least that bit of an opportunity to see how he goes this week. Now, the worry is if Corey Allen plays pretty good, there's a decent chance, and Lawson doesn't, there's a decent chance that he loses that spot to Corey Allen when Val comes back next week. And now, with Val being out in round 18 as well, you should expect Lawson to be there for that one. So just be aware of that. Do you need him in 16? Is it a worry? Do you still want to cash down? Lots of questions around him. King Tongi has kept his spot, so if you do need someone to play, or you're going to loop them with Cleary, then he's that guy. I wouldn't be looking to purchase him though. You've got Couchman here, who is going to play big minutes again. Still very, very important in a game where they probably shouldn't get smashed. That will be helpful. Now, the question here, with Faitel and Mariner out of this side, will Luciano Leilua just start? And who else can play some edge minutes is going to be the big question. And it doesn't look like you've got guys that could on here. They're generally all middles. So expect Luciano to play some decent minutes there. Damien Cook's still a really good option in that 9 spot, in my opinion, heading into this week. Yeah, he shouldn't go straight out to the centres again. Well, if there's an injury, but we're not going to bank on injuries. And for the majority of the time, he's going to be in a good spot playing some decent footy there. With Mulatalo back, Hiroti stays in, moves from wing to centre there, but no real interest for anyone in that side, given they're pretty much all available. Now, moving on to Titans and the Eagles, we see Brimson at 1, like we did last week, with Campbell still a really good option in that 7 slot. The majority of these guys, they have the buy in round 18, so it's not super exciting outside of someone like Campbell. If you bought a Mulaney, or if you bought Jolliffe or Randall, you hopefully can get a good week out of them this one. Make sure you play them or loop, however it's going to work for you. There's unfortunately no cash down that's available that I would mention in here as being of any relevance. And we'll talk about a few of these guys here. Now, Cleese Haas will go to 13, but long term, that's not going to be his spot. You've got Tino and Mo Fodawaker out of this side, who could be sells, Tino especially. I don't think anyone has Mo, do they? Now for the Eagles, Turbo is back. He's a very, very cheap wing fullback option. Now with him, plays 15, plays 18, which is great. Misses 16 and 19. But if you want to spend a little bit less to upgrade elsewhere, then Turbo could definitely be the play. Very, very risky. Might not pan out very well, but you could take it if you want to be a bit risky and have that point of difference guy. Garrick, not crazy owned, but decently there. He's still an option at the moment. This team should go pretty well with DCE there and playing, and they bring Takayuho back, which probably means that Jazz has a pretty decent chance of actually staying on the bench this week. So we'll see how that plays out, but hopefully it doesn't affect him too much and he can come on and play the majority of the game out. That would be the hope, but we'll have to wait and see. It's still got Simkin in the 14. So there's definitely minutes available for him in the middle. I don't know if you'd buy now. I think at this stage, with Cook not being too far of a price point different to Jazz, I would go Cook at this stage. But we'll discuss them a little bit further and get on the screen for the best buys. Olakuatu could jump on this week. Apparently his wife's about to have another baby. Another? Anyway, I think it's a second. Don't quote me on that, but that's why he was he ruled himself out of going over to camp. If you saw that, him ruling himself out of Origin, that was the reason, which generally means he should be okay for this game, but there's some slight worries there, so I don't know if you want to go ahead and buy, but he's in a good spot to make some money, although we know with Olakuatu that he's very, very easily able to go back to the 30s and 40s, and Lehigh is out of that one as well, so I'm looking at potentially selling him in Supercoach, and you could do the same if you own here in Fantasy, missing 15, 16, and 19 there, and we'll go back to the wing likely. Now for the Knights, Fletcher Sharp, if you haven't bought yet, I still think it's a good opportunity. Plays wing fullback or half and can do some great things for your side. Dangagai, it's not a terrible price at all, but I do think when you're making decisions with these guys, especially, they miss 18, they also miss like 22 or something like that. Round 18 is a very tough round, so make sure you have some contingencies in place there for guys like that you are buying. Kaipi's Paul will be the pod play, not heavily owned. I think it's under 30 or 35%. So he's a guy that, as we see, and we saw last week, can go for 80. Greg Marzu would definitely be the pod play as well with Dangagai. But you do need to be aware that someone like Greg, he's not in that top 5 best options. Now for the Roosters there, Teddy, a great play this week. We know that. Nwagani Tuaze getting to a fairly expensive price. People looking to sell after he's 31, but he was great before that. So expect him to continue with good scoring. Savala apparently keeps his spot at 6. That's exciting for owners. I'll be looking to potentially just loop and see how that one plays out. I personally have like Cleary that I can loop in half, and I also have guys like Yongi in wing fullback. So moving between Campbell, Fletcher Sharp up and down to allow me to loop in this spot. So that's where someone like Savala could be an easy loop player for you. If you do own still, I suggest holding just to see how it plays out, because he could potentially be helpful for you. If he keeps the 6 spot, he could be helpful for you in round 18. And yeah, you can loop in 16 and yeah, think of it like that. Now, I still hold Nafahu White, so I'm very glad that he's actually been named to start. It's not off the bench. They're not mucking around with it. He should get good minutes here, which is great. Especially with the setup they've got Sandon Smith at 14 and Zach Docker-Clay at 15. That's pretty wild. And if that actually stays, which, when you're looking at the reserves, the guys that have actually played there, like, you've had Lasalu play, you've had Makatoa play, you've had De La Salle, Va'a as well, but none of them are established first graders. So there's actually a pretty decent chance that this is how it plays out. Sandon can be the backs cover. Zach Docker-Clay can play through the middle, just defending there, running, however they want to play that one, if need be. And then you've got a couple of middles, and Nat can cover the edge there as well. So maybe it sticks that way. And I think that's great news for someone like Nafahu White, for Egan Butcher's minutes, for Radley's minutes as well. And Blake Steep should have a good game in this one as well. But in terms of cash outs for this side, you can pick Benaya. It does look like he's going to be the guy that sticks in this 9 role, but we thought that about Zach Clay, and that hasn't turned out exactly how we would have wanted it. And for those that did buy him, I did in Supercoach, and it didn't pay out. Didn't pan out so well. So really, Nafahi White, would you buy him? I wouldn't, coming back from injury. But as an owner right now, I'm happy he's playing. I'll lock and load him in that midsection and go from there. Wong, an easy hold. Radley, yeah, I think if you're going to take a play on that one, it would have been a few weeks ago in round 12, not now, given he's a bit more expensive as well and still has a buy to come and all the rest there. Egan Butcher, mentioned him a few weeks ago as well. He's at an okay price, but yeah, it's not 350, which is, actually it's near 350, but you need it to be like under that target, near the 300 mark, somewhere there if you're going to get them as just a little bit of a helper, because are you actually going to buy them and play them? If you are short and you want to you want to save some cash, or you want to upgrade to Preston or these type of guys, then that could be a play there. It's just going to depend on your side, how many trades you've got, all that kind of stuff. Now for Cowboys and Dolphins, this will be the best quality game of the round, I think, with Dolphins playing really well. Cowboys, a little bit hurt, I should say, with guys out, but Clifford's been playing most of the year. You've got Jackson Purdue, you've got Drinkwater, Braden Burns returns, nice. You got Murray Talangi coming back from injury, so Robert Darby's had plenty of good games as well. So that all of that's fun, and we do see Taumalolo come back, so that's going to be a good there. Hopefully they can hold their own at home. Now Drinky, a very clear option. Purdue, a very clear hold option. In terms of guys that could be flyers or pods, there is none. And I was mucking around talking to people about, we're going to get a 9 for Cowboys, but I forgot that Lawton was injured, and I was like, we'll probably get Sam McIntyre in there at 9, and we end up with Carl Lawton, so not too much of a difference there. It's the guy that isn't very good value for us in fantasy. And the big thing here is, as we go through these sides, is you're not seeing any of the cheapies at all, and any of these cash downs, which does make it tough, but that's where the selling of guys like Huss helps, so you can just continue buying guns and not having to get a cheapie in that apparently doesn't go that well, like Lawson. But Farnworth, a really good purchase this week, as is Isaiah Katoa, the two guys on the list. The guys in the mid-range here in the back row, in Finafiaki, in Oren Keeley, in Lemuelu, all doing a decent job without being, giving you confidence to buy them, especially Lem. Like, he's playing so well, but he's playing off the bench, and there's easily a game there somewhere where he'll get 23 or 25, and that could absolutely kill you. So stick to Isaiah Katoa, stick to Herbie Farnworth in this one, and see if they fit your side. And just so sad to hear about Maxi Plath, the legend. Actually, Viliami Vaile out. Suspensions, that's right. We didn't need that, did we? Bateman and Vailea to get suspended, ready for this game. So hopefully they can hold their own, and you can imagine how much guys like Drinky are going to have to do in this game. For the Bunnies, we see, the odd change there. Latrell's out, so Jai Gray comes back into this side, and you do also see Cody Walker out of this side as well. Campbell Graham in the 19 jersey, so there's a bit of a worry on him, but they're going to leave him in that spot. What's good to see though is that you do have guys that have returned in recent weeks in Johnston, in White in there, which is good, and Ty Munro. Keon, a very, very good captaincy option this week. Ewan Aitken, if you still haven't bought him, he's now priced just a tick over 50. So is he someone you want to look at? Someone asked me about Tallis Duncan, and he's just all over the shop. Low 30s into a 41 into a 60 last week, and just like bang, he can just hit it and do really well. Guys like Hubner, easy hold, but Duncan, can you buy him? It doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Humphreys is getting cheaper. He's a bit of a pod play that could do well this week. He's going to kick for big meters in this one, but he just hasn't come back the same player since the injury, unfortunately, and that's a little bit of the worry there with him if you were to buy him, but he's getting very, very cheap very, very quickly. For the doggies there, we see Galvin in the 6 jersey, and super frustrating if you did buy Burton. You're happy with the score, but very unhappy with how it's panned out with him getting the 18 jersey for the Blues there. And it makes sense why he's got it. I'd suggest that he gets it majority of the time, and he looked great running the footy the other day. Carraz moves into the centres to replace Stephen Crichton, and that's kind of the big news from this team with Wilson coming back into the side. And we've seen Carraz, these runs that he gets to be able to throw the offload at the back, that's been his biggest attacking weapon at the moment, and I don't know if he'll have that at centre, but we've also seen him hit a 90 or whatever it was last year in that centre position. But what I found last year is that they were in a different position. They weren't playing very well, and it was kind of just like give Carraz the ball in that time, and it worked out. He was able to do a lot of things by himself. And in this scenario this year, they've got good shape out there. He's getting good kick returns and stuff like that. So at centre, you won't do that as much. So something to think about, but tackles will be up and all the rest. So still a good purchase this week. We'll discuss him further in that Best Buys. Preston is back, an awesome pick as always. Curran moves to the 8 jersey. Still look to play him, or you can do some looping in that scenario as well. Bailey Hayward in at 13 there as well. So yeah, nothing crazy for those guys. They got a few outs there with Kurt Mann, with Burton, with King, and with Crichton, but they are able to cover it so well, and I think that's going to be a fun game to have a look at as well. So there you go. That's the games for the week, guys. It's the team list for Origin and for round 15. All about strategy, as I said. Do a bit of research on there, and that's the big pro of coming into the private group, is that you can ask me the question. I'll get back to you. Show me your team, give me a general idea of what you want to do or who you're interested in, and I'll have a quick survey of your side and be able to help you with a look at the next month of footy, because that's where I'm looking at now, 15 to 19, and where that sits for you. So have a look at that one, guys. All the info is in the description for that. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll catch you in the Best Buys video tomorrow morning.